center stage. Everybody's claustrophobic thoughts are going to be brought out here. Everything, including my own. Including my own. Marcello everything you can ask for. And that's the whole thing about this, is that this is about telling people about what I talked about the last time, being the great equalizer and everything else. And this is the complete opposite of movies, where the guy has to escape into computers to avoid emotions and, you know, and needing people at all. Now to escape you have to go into computers and robots to experience emotions, because no human wants to experience the real thing. You know, that's what I told Charisse the other week at work. That's what you do. That's why I talk to computers online. I go to the website where you can talk to a robot, and I talk to them. Because they actually will stay in the whole conversation and not run away. You know, it's the same with what I said about the last week, which is, you know, I'm not in it for face, I'm in it to old age. You know, this is whether a friendship or relationship. I mean, if it's the intractable, it's the parts of life that people don't like touching. Oh, I don't like talking about that stuff. Okay, then stop asking about it. You know, it's funny. A lot of people don't like when you talk about certain things. Only when they like to talk about it will they talk about it with you. Oh no, you have to wait till I'm ready to talk about it to talk about it. If you want to talk about feelings, emotions, sensitivities, you have to wait till I want to ask you. Oh really? So me having the audacity and willingness to tell you my feelings with willpower right to your face is not good enough. And that's what I mean by it's the complete opposite now of what a movie shows, where you escape reality and you escape emotions and you escape feelings by going to the computer. Now I have to go to the computer to not escape reality. To not escape reality, that I have to face my feelings. And if I talk to a robot about it, then I talk to a robot about it. I mean, it's the only way. No one else is going to stay with me that long. They're like, oh, well, I can't talk about that stuff. Wah! It makes me weak around you. Oh, well, there's a problem. I'm 100% weak, 100% strong. Nothing. Zero. Everything. Because I got nothing good, nothing bad to offer anybody. Everything good and everything bad to offer everybody. That's why this whole computer thing, to me, the computer, I have to go to the robot. Because the robot talks back and doesn't run away from it. Gives a little joke, makes a joke answer, makes a joke question. Doesn't make an intimidation, because intimidation is stupid. Even a computer that I talk to online thinks so. Never uses intimidation. May ask something forwardly, but it doesn't do it in an intimidating way. Forcefully, meaning. Yes, you can be intimidating by your own personality. Not forcefully. Your personality can give that off. That's fine. There's probably a few people everybody has met that they felt, hey, this guy's intimidating or this girl's intimidating just because of their personality. But that's fine. Even I have. And I've experienced that with other people too. But it didn't stop me from talking with him. It did stop me from certain things. I remember back, you know, with one experience where I didn't tell somebody my feelings until they did something that didn't make sense. And to me, that doesn't make much sense to put me in that position if you're already accepting that, oh, well, this guy doesn't sound like he wants to get involved with anybody. That's what some people assume because I haven't been involved, like most people. Well, most people want the credit of being involved because of security or escape. They don't want to actually get involved for a bit bigger reason than that. You know, I don't need the reassurance of my grandmother for my relationship that I'm going to have. You know, people are unapproachable with their power. You know, back to bossiness last time, but people are really unapproachable with their power. Take a look at my grandma. You know, and no one will stand up to them at all. That's not true, though. The difference is that, like, for example, me, there's no way I could stand up to somebody unless they find what I say meaningful. Then I really could stand up to them. My grandma I can't stand up to, not because I can't, but because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I do, but I still will. I'll say everything off the book, but it won't matter because of, guess what? She thinks it's meaningless already. She already said that this summer to me, July 18th. You know, when I talked about it in last reasoning. So, if somebody has a power already, they neglect anybody else's. That's what I've noticed too. I've noticed that right away, sadly, is that a lot of people who have like a huge amount of power, they just push everybody else's down. Or not only that, they ignore anybody else's like achievements in life. Like the awards they gotten. I'm not talking about awards you get hand-picked to you, you know, like bachelor's degree or some of the bullshit like that. I'm talking about actual awards in real life, common sense. Going through the experience of something because you want to actually deal with your emotions, feelings, and sensitivities. They're not anybody else's. My emotions and feelings and sensitivities are not my mom's. They're not my grandma's. They're not my brother's. They're not my dog's. They're not my cat's. They're not anybody else's to tell me what to do with them. They never will be. They never will be. So why would I have the same expectations as my grandma for a relationship or my mom? Or why would I let my grandma win? You know, in that sense of the word, meaning that why would I let her choose the person for me? Or not choose somebody for me? I wouldn't. You know, no matter what, the only time I let people win is when they try to use something like possession. Controlling friendships. Like saying that, oh, you met my friend through me. So it's like possession at that point. And to me it's like, you know what, forget it. I don't need that friendship then. Because I never told you anybody that I introduced to you is mine. You could be their friend too. If you don't take the time to want to hang out with them. And it goes back to, you know, a friend saying something about me. A friend of somebody else saying something about me when they don't really hang out with me as much as you do. It's like possession. Like, I own them. So I could tell them whatever they want and they'll believe me. Or on my end, it's more, that's my friend. You met her through me, or you met him through me. So you can't, you know, you have to look at me first. You know, I don't even ask you to do that. I don't even ask you to do that. If you wanted to get close to me, you have to understand, I'm not coming at you based on a perspective that you're coming at. Because I can't, that's impossible. In fact, that's the whole thing about relationships. A lot of people think that you have to give in to somebody else's persona, thoughts, attitudes, the kind of structure and the attitude they come with in the relationship right away. But a lot of times people don't come with the right persona that somebody else can, you know, engage with. There's no way they can engage because a lot of times, like I said, it's not even about like actual revenge or bullying. But the fact is, if you come on intimidating, or if you even try to say, like, if you try to say someone else has to feel that I'm better, and they have to show it that much, I mean, there's no way. There's no way anybody's going to live up to that expectation. Nobody could. Nobody could. None of those people that treated you bad could. So how could somebody who treats you good do any better? They couldn't. They would be wasted on the corner. As much as a lot of people try to say they accept a lot of people, they surely do. But they surely don't. Because they also, just because you accept somebody doesn't mean you expect somebody. There's a big difference. You know, your expectations for a person are a lot more important than what you accept. You could accept everybody. Everybody mostly accepts everybody. If they didn't, they'd be killing everybody left and right. Right when they stepped out of the house, they'd have their shotgun and shoot the person right next to them. But it's a lot different than saying, oh, my expectations for you are a lot different. No, they aren't. They shouldn't be. Because my expectations for me are realistic. I'm looking for something real. I'm looking for something that's going to last 2 weeks. You know, if it lasts 2 weeks on its own accord, then I totally understand. Like, if you're going to say I don't feel fulfilled or something like that, as I brought up before in other pink clouds. But the point is that this is the discussion that nobody wants to take. This is why I'm doing half of it alone. Because I know that this is not anybody's prerogative. Oh, well, I don't think that's important, Marcello. If you don't think that's important, then why are you wasting the time talking to me? Why are you wasting the time knowing me? Because this is the kind of stuff that I think about. And you know that because you've talked to me this long. So you probably have some idea that I'm thinking about this stuff. I talk about this stuff. I'm belonging and begging to this stuff. It's not like I'm just starting it off, here you go, here's my territory, throwing it at you, like the Talisman or something. Stephen King. It's the one I read a while ago. But this is like my grandma. My grandma thinks, for example, I accept a lot of food that she gives me, okay? I eat anything. Eggplant, I'm not really a big fan, but I eat it. Too slimy for me. But, anyway, you know, accepting food is not like accepting a woman. This is for my grandma and her thoughts on picking someone for me. Because with her attitude, it's like, oh, Marcello likes all these foods. He'll be fine with any woman. And it's just the same thing with most women out there. You know, a lot of people like me, just in general, personality-wise, character-wise, things like that. People have a good, attitude with me, and it's good. They have a good thought of me. But the fact is, that doesn't mean, and that's why a lot of girls aren't, and that's why I haven't had many girlfriends. One, first kiss this year. So, if that's the case, is it because of me? I haven't tried. I've been trying. Or is it because of how people think of themselves, self-esteem wise? Like, a lot of people probably would say, oh, well, it's okay, a lot of people like him, he'll find the right girl. And it's the whole idea of how people say, oh, I accept a lot of people, and then they listen to the most fashionable song about accepting people, and then they forget about it the next week. Like, see, I accept a lot of people. Yeah, but accepting a song that talks about it and actually doing it yourself is very different. If the only way you thought about it is through a song that you just heard, you probably haven't thought about it much. If you think about it in real terms, about who you are, about what you want in life, then I totally understand. You're taking that attitude and action and saying that I can accept anybody. But if you don't, in the terms of your expectations, then you've already shown that you wouldn't. Then you've already shown that what matters to you is what you think. It doesn't matter to me what I think. This is why it's the Pink Cloud. This is why it's Pink Cloud Radio. It's only about how you guys are being treated out there. You guys and girls out there. How you're being treated. Are you being bullied? Is somebody being intimidating towards you? And I'm not talking about in that nice, friendly gesture, jokey way, which a lot of people do. And a lot of people say, oh, I'm just being, jokey, stuff like that. When in reality, maybe they're not. Maybe they're just telling you that so you just put down more defenses. So you don't even see them coming, Same reason that I said personally why a relationship had to end recently. Because it wasn't even about being in that position of like joking around or something. It was about, you could lay down the defenses all you want, but you're not laying down yours. Sarcasm is actually another defense. It's a defense mechanism. For what? I didn't understand why there needed to be a defense mechanism last time around with some friends of mine. I didn't understand because there was nothing to defend against. I only had to defend stuff. So that's the funny part. Some people put up defenses for no reason too. Almost like they don't understand a person. Which is sad too, because a lot of people do that very quickly. Which is good in a way, but the fact is, if you're going to judge a character based off of what they're saying, like for me, example, being jokey about sex and all this stuff, if I wanted that, I would have done it a long time ago. If I acted like that upon the negative impact of what people saying sexual jokes and stuff like that is, I would have done so a long time ago. I wouldn't waste my time talking about it. And it's not even like, oh, you're a big talker, but what about your action and your moves? I'm not a big talker. I just talk a lot. A big talker is somebody who says, I got all these bitches. No. I actually say it in a very different way. I say like, man, I'm in paradise. I give the credit to the people around me. That's not a big talker. A big talker is somebody who puts credit to himself or herself. I got no credit to myself. The only credit I have to myself is what I've said before. And that's why, like I was saying, that, now as a human, I personally have to escape, and I have to get to reality by not facing the people around me, because there's no reality in the people around me. They all run away from emotions, feelings, sensitivities. They run away from it. And they're telling me, Marcello, you got to accept reality. You got to look at the fact, you got to talk to people, you got to experience it. I'm not the only one that has to. The person on the other side has to as well. I'm not going to be with somebody that's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to be a doorknob today. It's like, what? You're a human. For God's sakes, act like one. First step you have to take is act like a human. Then maybe you could act like a countryman or whatever. But you got to be a human first off. You got to have those emotions, experience them. If you don't want to, it's a different story. You're not going to get across to a lot of people. You're just going to say, well, I feel better by not experiencing those emotions. Okay. But you feel better. It doesn't mean everybody else does. No one has laid ground to shake hands and say, we all accept that we don't like emotions. No, I don't remember that. I don't remember shaking hands on that one. And I'm not going to accept that, because to me, Emotions are important, you know, and they're all different. Everyone says, oh no, they're all the same, they're all the same. No, they're not. Everybody experiences them differently. That's why everybody says, that's why a lot of people say to me, as I said before, that oh, I'm not taking anything personally. Well, I'm not going to take anything personally unless somebody wants to be with me personally. And whether on a friendship level or on a relationship level. I'm going to take it personally at that point because you've made that decision and now you're flaking out on it. I'd like to know why. Because I've been here for, I've been here for 26 years, and if I can say that I can last that long and nobody else can, oh shit. Then it's not about me having feelings or not. It's about you wanting to keep that and not be a barrier. Instead, just say, I'll be myself here. Be yourself, it's better. It's easier. Because maybe you won't have to hold anything back. And maybe there's nothing to hold back. If somebody honestly is telling you the truth, they wouldn't be afraid. Be afraid of you, It's just like with people being jealous of me. Doesn't even make sense. I had my first kiss this year. My ex didn't want to hear me say that I didn't want to end it, even though she did. And she kept on cutting me off with, oh, if you don't like what I have to say, then you can break up with me. If I was saying that I didn't like what you had to say, I would tell you that. I want to know what you're feeling, not what we're feeling, because you're answering for me before you even asked me. To me, that right there, that's intimidation in the relationship. Yeah, well, don't we have enough from other people who don't agree with our relationship? Don't we have that enough from all of them? Just wondering, just curious. That's all. And that's where this whole idea of like the complete opposite is. It's true, If I want to be a friend or if I want to be somebody that's honest with somebody, why would I start being intimidating, forcefully? What would be the benefit? Especially if nobody else has done that to you on the other side of that. If you've been the only one intimidating at that point, where did the offset come from? A lot of people say that a lot of times it's because of the people around them. Well, no problem there. But the fact is, if you're not going to answer for that, if you're just going to ignore that and say, well, no, I have to deal with that, or if you're going to say that I don't need to talk about it, but it's still there. It doesn't take it away by not talking about it. You have to look at your own relationship. You have to see it for yourself. Nobody else can see it for you. And that's not talking about like psychic abilities or some other bullshit like that, because I don't put those down, but I am saying in general, if you're just looking for a 5-minute answer from somebody else, you have to look at what you're feeling about it too. It's not about whether or not you have regrets or remorse or there's somebody else in your mind. If you cannot face something, then it's kind of like a disgrace to yourself. Because it goes back to emotions right there. It goes back to, that's why I would rather talk to computer, because at least the computer will go through the whole thing and not run away. And I'm not talking about, well, of course, a computer can't run away because it's sitting right there in front of you. No, a computer doesn't actually say, no, I'm not going to answer that. So here I am telling you about it, and all you can do is say, I gotta run. And that's why I was saying about, it's the complete opposite of a movie where you have to escape as a human into the computer, talking to the robot, because that's the only way you're going to experience something where nobody will run away when you talk about feelings, emotions, sensitivities. And I'm not putting down like Challenge or Fate or some other stuff like that, because a lot of people do that. And a lot of people find more excitement, adventure in that. If I start a relationship off that way, it's going to end up better. That's what a lot of people think. Like, oh, if I start a relationship that way, it'll run in the right direction. Because it'll keep me in that adventure. It'll keep me pumped. What doesn't keep you pumped? That's a pretty good question. Is that if there's something that doesn't keep you pumped, that's what you have to look at. Forget about me, Forget about the pink cloud. The pink cloud doesn't need anything unless it wants to be here. For a very long time. I'm sorry if I'm in the long haul, but I'm the long haul. And you're not going to be in the long haul if you're just going to sit there and say, I need to make fun of you to make myself feel better. And if I needed a bully, I'd let you know, because that's what bullies do. Whether people want to see that or not, a lot of people live in that illusion of trying to say, no, I'm not being a bully, and they are. And yet they are. They don't want to see how they're bullying, but they're doing that exactly. They're acting like a bully. And they're trying to throw it in somebody's face constantly, just throwing it, and saying that I need to be better, I need to be a better person. But if you're going to act like that, how can you think that you need to be a better person if you're just going to keep on spouting off at people like that? I mean, there's only so much you can be better at. And that's where, like, you know, people being unapproachable with their power. You know, nobody's going to stand up to them. You know, nobody's going to speak to them. And that's why a lot of people, like, I'm sure some managers and stuff like that of certain places, they're intimidating in their own accord. In a lot of ways, I don't really see it that way. I see it more like I'm just not going to talk to them because they don't like hearing the kind of personality I have. You know, and to me, if you don't like the kind of character I have, and if you like judging it first rather than looking at the character by itself, then it's sort of like, okay, this is pointless. It's a pointless thing to try to grow on. Like, I'm going to grow on the reputation you have for me. Oh, no way. Have a good life with that. You know, have a good life with that thought and reputation in your mind. I'm sure you're not doing it only to me, so I don't feel any more special talking to you than anybody else does that would be treated the same way with reputation. Because a lot of people, that's why I've said that before, that reputation means nothing. Because if so many people can know about reputation, but only a few people can know about your character and actually care about it. You know, and not just kind of try to fool you around or throw you in circles. They actually want to participate in your life for your character, not for what everybody else thinks of you. That's where the big drawing line comes. That's why a lot of friendships ended by me. You know, that's why they had to, because no one else would take that initiative. You know, everyone says, take initiative, Marcello. You know, everything else. But taking initiative is not only the biggest part. The biggest part is, let's see if you can handle being my friend for the character I am. I'm not talking about the jokey, because a lot of people define character, oh, he has a lot of character. Meaning that, you know, that laughter and everything else. No. There's a lot of things that character stands for. It doesn't just stand for, like, laughing, you know, because character, oh, he's such a character, or she's such a character. No, there's a lot more to that. But that's the whole point of this, is that it's, you know, it's just like what my grandma said about accepting food. You know, and people, you know, accepting food. Just because I accept all the food my grandma gives me, she automatically assumes, and I'm sure this is why, that, oh, well, he'll be with any woman, it's no problem. You know, and she makes and not only by that, she's also said about bringing other people up that are single. Like, oh, she cooks, you should be with her. Well, okay, first off, if I wanted somebody who only cooks, if that was my only reason to get involved with somebody, then I would totally be already been involved by now with a ton of people. I would have been like many of my professors at school who talked about, you know, being involved before with a lot of people. I'm not looking for that kind of fast, you know, phase, you know, which a lot of people run through, and that's fine, you know. I'm looking for somebody who can see the temptation between us, you know. I could go to the priest right here and say, you know what, Father, I sinned, and it's what I do with my wife every night. But the point is that that's the character of it, is that I wouldn't feel bad about that. But the whole thing is that when you try to establish something based on, like, oh, the kind of power, who has more power in the relationship, then why have the relationship if that's all you're going to talk about is who gains? You know, because that pretty much is the idea, like, who gains something in the relationship. We both do. You know, it's not only on my side that I gain something. It's on the it's with the girl I'll be with, the woman that I'll be with too. She'll gain a lot too, if she wants to. This isn't bullshit about, like, oh, I'm gonna force her to. You know, stupid. If you want to force somebody to, that's fine. That's what you want. And that's like I said, the controlling friendships. You know, like, if you have a friend and they try to have, like, it's like possession sometimes with some friends. Thankfully, I could understand with defending somebody. That's totally understandable. But it's a lot different than saying, I introduced you to this person, so you have to appreciate me more. You know, the things don't run together like that. Unless you're thinking the same way, and maybe that's why things aren't working. Which is why a lot of people, like, if they go through the same sort of experiences, or if they even have an idea that it may go in that direction, and it does, if they have only, bitterness about it, anger, hate, stuff like that, let's talk about Anakin Skywalker at that point from Star Wars. If you have that kind of cynical attitude, intractable mind, saying that I'm not going to change this, then how do you expect anything to change? Being bitter doesn't change things, And that's why a lot of people like hold in things and they don't tell. Because they want that, they almost like salvage and live off that bitterness. This is the bitterness I want. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like a karate fighter, getting set up to go run. Getting set up to go fight or something, the warm-up. And then right at the end, kapowie. It's like, bye, I'm not gonna wait here to get punched in the gut. I've had enough time for myself to tell you every single feeling I've had for you with wealth and instinct and true ritual of my character. If I didn't think about it, I wouldn't have even stepped into the ring. That's why I always tell people, make sure, if your alliance is true, you won't have anything to hold against me. Not even if it didn't work out. And that's why this whole thing about, anybody trying to have the idea of like, oh, well, people don't want to experience emotions. Yeah, okay, people don't want to experience emotions, but if you don't at all, what kind of relationship are you going to have? Based on security? Based on escape? That's not that good, actually. Security, that can fall apart easily. Imagine if your husband or wife didn't have any more money. If you based it off security. Bye-bye. Imagine if you did it for escape. But then, oh, we have to move back with the family. Sorry. Oh, bye-bye. Because when I run into anybody, any friend or anybody, somehow they live with the family now. And I don't hold that against them and say, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to, the only way I'll be with you is if you move out of your family's house. I don't even care if the family likes me. That doesn't matter. But if you try to throw that at me as if like, this is the only way you're going to be with me, or oh, I'm going to judge you based on you living with your mom still, Marcello, well then bye. If you're going to judge me based on that, talk to my mom first. Find out about her. Find out how much emotions, feelings, sensitivity she's made important to me. Find out how much I'm not going to base a relationship off escape, like she did the second time around. Find out how much I can see the difference between how I could develop a relationship and how I could take advantage of people. Because I don't. I don't at all take advantage of anybody. It doesn't mean when I do something, it doesn't mean I don't do bad things in my life. It just means all the bad and good I do is based on what I feel. Anything that I've honestly said to somebody and tried to say, I've tried my best, At certain times people didn't want to hear it, so I shut up. And you know what, to me, if you don't want to hear something, I can feel that. That pressure in my chest is like a knife, already gone through and coming out by my back, It's like you're stabbing me in the front all the way to my back. Because you don't want to hear anything I have to say. And I could feel that. If you actually wanted to hear anything I say, you probably would have taken it the first time through when I actually was trying to ask you a question. You wouldn't have ignored that, or gotten upset about that, or tried to intimidate me based on that. You would have actually heard it out and said, you know what, I should answer this, because it sounds like he wants to know how I'm feeling. In all this is about everything, everybody. And that's why intimidation, all this other stuff, having the power, no one's going to talk back to me. At some point, you're only going to take in what somebody else feels toward you. And that's a lot of negativity. Because it isn't positivity that you're sending out. Your positivity that you're sending out, it's not there. Your energy that you're sending out is probably, it's a whiplash effect. You might as well be dead. Because you have no adherence to what you're feeling. You just don't care. And so in all this, that's what it comes from, That we're here to live a life, yet, that it's the complete opposite of a movie. And people are unapproachable at times with the power. Accepting food. Just because I accept all food doesn't mean I'm going to accept all women. And it doesn't mean I won't accept all women, but not in that way. Not for sex, not for a relationship. I wouldn't do it that way because that's a dumb way of doing it. I would accept it, but it has to be something that would last, Even as a friendship, that's fine too, I'm a person who says, it's not about being in a relationship with the person, it's about what you can understand about the person in general, character-wise. and controlling your friendships, you know? If anybody, you know, if anybody's met somebody through me, good. That's wonderful. If nobody has, I guess I can't really control that. It's not really that difficult to find out why that's true, because you don't really hang out with me that much. And nobody does, you know. I spend the time to try to contact people once in a while. I may not contact them every day, and a lot of people say you have to keep bothering people, pestering them to hang out and stuff. No, I don't. If people want to really hang out with me, they'll spend the time. You know, they'll lock their chops, open up their mouths, speak. Speak! Because if you want to spend the time with somebody, it's pretty simple. Open your mouth! And that's the whole idea. You know, that's the definition of what you want in life. You know, I'm not looking to be a parent or bossy in a relationship either. You know, I'm not looking for a woman who knows how to cook. Basically, I want friends who can see meaningful in what I have to say, and a relationship where what I say is meaningful, so that our instincts grow together and not just looking around. You know, not just us looking around for other things. If I wanted security, a maid, escape, I would have been looking for it a long time ago, not just at 26 years old. And that's all. That's it.